Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your next keynote speaker to the stage. Founder and CEO of MBS Highway, Barry Habib.
Woo! Hey, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Thank you. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying. I am so excited that I get a chance to be here with you at AIME Fuse. What a great conference, man. Great speakers, great energy. But the best part about this thing is all you guys. I have to tell you, you mean so much to me. The friendships, the way you guys have just treated me, the things that you've done. KT, your love, all you guys, just been, it's been amazing. You know, it's been a difficult year for me. And the friendship and the love that you've given me has helped me more than I can even say. So let me just say that first of all. Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't even have words to tell you. And boy, this organization has just become such a beautiful organization that's just filled with love. And I see the way you guys treat each other, the way you help each other, the way you support each other. I'm so proud of all of you. I really am. And Jonathan, where are you, Jonathan? Where is he? Where is Jonathan? He's probably doing something to help this organization right now as we speak. But I want to say the future of this organization is in really good hands with that guy. Holy cow. Let me tell you something. That guy is a winner. He cares. He is so impressive. Young guy, but I am extraordinarily impressed with him. And you know what was really cool? He takes off his shirt and he wears the brokers are best, right? But you know what, team? He didn't have to wear that shirt. Because I'll tell you why. Because under that shirt, this is where he wears it. And that's what's really important. And all of us need to understand that this is where we have to wear that we're best. This is where we have to take that pride. It's got to be inside. And then I know it just resonates. It just comes out. You could just see it in Jonathan. You could just see it in so many people. When they believe that they're the best, when they live it. You heard Matt, who, by the way, how about that guy? I mean, gave such an incredible talk. And I listened to Matt, and I'm saying, this guy doesn't have to do all this. He couldn't even stay for 5 minutes. You have to jump on a plane, he has more money than we can even imagine, right? But the guy is so dedicated. He's so in it. And he doesn't mail it in. He doesn't say, okay, I'm going to make an appearance, I'm going to speak, and this, other. No, the guy is just freaking incredible. He's got like that Steve Jobs, where he comes out and there's just one more thing. He announces one more thing, the Broker X. Who even sees this stuff coming? He's constantly trying to get better. That's where wearing it on your heart, being the best, wearing it in your heart, that's where we all need to be. Every single one of us. I believe in trying to get better every single day. It's what I always have wanted to do, is just every single day. In fact, not too long ago, just before I went on, there's just one little change I wanted to make to the slide. So these poor guys in the back, I'm saying, no, put this here, put this there. And I also want to just say thank you. I really enjoyed the coaching session. That was fantastic, wasn't it? How about all those great people? Give them one more round of applause. They were fantastic. Chris did a great job, and Kyle and Christine, and and my dear friend Dale. We had a lovely dinner last night, and Dale's been by my side through this whole thing. Calls me up, checks on me. We pray every time we're on the phone. It's meant so much to me, Dale. You really, God bless you, man. Thank you for that. So, team, listen. As I said, it's been a little bit of a difficult year, but we're getting through it. I'll give you a little bit of an update on me, and I'll talk about that. But let's get to a couple of slides that I want to share with you, because there's a lot going on. Yes, we have been waiting for this time. It is finally here. So how do we maximize that? We're going to talk about that. It's really been a story for all of us of overcoming adversity. It's been a story for each and every one of you in this market, overcoming adversity. But also you have personal stuff going on. You've got people in your family, you've got yourself, you've got friends, whether it's financial, relationship, health. There's always adversity that we have to overcome in life. And I think there's ways that we can do it. There's things that we could do, because look, in life, it could always be better. We want it to be better. But I will tell you, as I discovered, very clearly, in just a heartbeat, things can get worse. Just in a blink, suddenly things can change and get a lot worse. And boy, where you were does not look, with all of its problems, so bad anymore. I'd take all the problems that I thought I had in just a heartbeat right now. So we have to remember that. I'll talk more about it with you. Let me tell you what's helped me to get through this. You know, I was talking about this with Renee. By the way, I want to talk about another guy who all he wants to do is just get better to serve others. Boy, Renee Rodriguez is just an incredible, incredible human being, and proud to have him as a dear friend. And Renee and I were talking, and you know, he was asking me just, you know, how did you kind of get through this, but always with a good attitude and always with, you know, with optimism. And you know, I've got to tell you, going through chemo, and I still got stuff to do, but it was hard. And I was terrified. I don't mind telling you that I was terrified to go through it. And I'm terrified about what's next. But I never got down about it. You guys know I worked every day, even when I had to carry that fucking bag, you know, with the chemo thing and a pump for 5 days consecutively. You saw me on the updates. I had it. But, you know, Rosa and I, we'd go out to dinner. I'd drive around with the bag. You know, I insisted on driving. And we had fun. We did. We laughed, we had fun, because, you know, I made a decision. As I know, and please understand this, the days that we have, they're not infinite. And the decision I made was, whatever time God gives me, I'm going to be happy those times. And that's what we have as a decision, right? So, I want you to be happy. I want you, whatever your problems are, make the most of it. Just understand that we don't want to spend the time that we have pissed off, upset, jealous. We don't want to do that. Let that shit go. And it's because of gratitude. You heard Dale say it on the stage just before. Gratitude. And I think that's what helped me so much. You know, it's having that mindset of gratitude. Now, I think many of you, because we know each other, I mean, most of us, we're just friends here, okay? We're like family, all of us. So you guys know me, and if you've read my book, you know I've believed this for years, and if I've been lucky enough to be able to talk with you where I was on stage and I was blessed to have you guys in the audience, then you know that the way I start every single day is with gratitude. You know, Rosa will tell you, every morning I have my ritual. I say out loud all of the things that I'm grateful for. And I think that really helped me to continue to get through this period. And today, one of the things I was grateful for was all of you. I was grateful that I am so lucky and so blessed to have this chance to share with you, to be with you, to be honored by you, that you're taking your extraordinarily valuable time and spending it with me. Here you are, it's the end of the day, it's been a long day, it's been a great conference, but wow, how lucky and blessed am I that you guys decided that you're going to spend that time with me. So trust me when I tell you, one of the things I thank God for this morning was you guys, because I am really blessed and lucky. And it's so important to focus my mind that way every day. Look, you know, just because I'm on stage doesn't mean I'm not flawed and I don't have fears. I've got a ton of them, okay? But I think that it's so important that every day I remember all of these wonderful things I have. I thank God for what I call a dream life. Even though I've got these things health-wise right now, I consider myself to be like the luckiest guy in the whole world. So think about it. If we do that every day, during the course of the day, no doubt something's going to piss you off, right? Somebody's going to cut you off on the road, a deal's going to go south, you're going to get in a little argument. But the difference is that while we're human and we have that, you know, couple of minutes of being pissed, you're able to snap back pretty quick. Because what you realize that, okay, I got this issue, but man, I've got all this other great stuff that it allows you to snap back. And like I said, that puts you in a beautiful state of mind, and it puts you in a state of mind that we want to be happy, right? That's all we want. We just want to be happy in life, right? You heard Ed Milet say it. You heard Matt say it. And I think that it's critical because, look, when we are trying to pursue happiness. No doubt financial goals are important, and you need to have financial goals. So that's critical. You also need to have achievement goals. You want to make sure that you're able to strive to get better, to achieve. So you want to have both. But how many people do you see that they've got all this money, they've got all this success, and yet they're not happy? You know what's missing? What's missing is fulfillment, and that comes from doing good for others. It's that freaking simple. And you need kind of all three. It can't just be, just do good for others and then you don't have anything for yourself. You need to have all three. And I think it's that balance. You heard a lot of these speakers talk about it. You hear Renee, you hear Ed, you hear Dale, you hear Matt talk about the same thing. It's all about doing for others. And that's what lasts. Buying a new car, it's fun, but it's ephemeral. Hitting a sales goal, it's great, but it's ephemeral. Big paycheck, it's great, but all those highs, they kind of dissipate pretty quickly. But it's the stuff that when you do for others, and you get a chance to do that every single day in what you do. So bringing joy to others is really important, even though you're having your own difficulties. It's what allows you to snap back. But there's something else that's really important about it. It's being able to see opportunities. You see, I think in our life, I think we'd all agree that there's no lack of opportunities that we've had. It's not like none of us have ever had an opportunity. We've had them, but a lot of them we've missed them. I've missed a ton, you've missed a ton. We've all missed opportunities. So the key is how do we see more opportunities? Well, it starts with your mindset. If you're in a freaking pissed off state, you're not going to see any opportunities, I promise you. If you're in a great state of mind, if you put all that shit aside, and if you're in a position of gratitude, then the beauty of it is that you get to see all these possibilities, these opportunities that occur. I remember when I was a little boy. Now, I grew up really poor. My parents were both immigrants. They came here. My dad passed away when I was a young boy. My mom literally worked in a sweatshop. Did not even speak the language. And I was a little boy riding the subways in New York City with my mom. As poor as we were, if she saw somebody that was in worse off shape, I remember it vividly. She had this little gold sequin change purse. It wasn't real gold, of course. This is the color gold. And then what she would do is she would give them some money. Then she'd turn around to me and she would say, as a little boy, she would say to me, "It's good to help people." Wow, what an important lesson that was. And then she said, "God watches when you help people." It wasn't just that lesson that I learned as a little boy, but it was the feeling I got. Because here we were, dirt poor, but I felt rich. I felt this good feeling. And as a young boy, I understood that your wealth is not defined by your bank account. Your wealth is defined by what you do for others. And again, we get a chance to do that every single day. I know that I'm a child of immigrants. I'm first generation here, and many of you are either in a similar position, are immigrants, you know someone. And people come to this country and they hear America's such a rich country that there's literally money in the streets. And that's why I wrote the book, Money in the Streets, because that's a story my mom used to tell me when I was a little boy. She would say, we heard that America was such a rich country, there's money in the streets, and now we found out it's a little bit different than that, and we're very, very poor. But before my mom passed away, I was able to talk to her, and I was able to say, "Mom, you were right. There really is money in the streets. It's just not that there's paper money litter in the streets. It's opportunity. And if you're in the right place in your mind, you see those opportunities, and if you pick them up and do good for others, that's the real money in the streets." So you were right all along, and that's why I wrote the book, to honor my mom and everybody who's come here with those dreams, because they are possible. They are possible. They're possible for every single one of us. I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the market right now. So let's take a look, because I am so proud of you to have survived, because not everybody did. We've got great data on this. We've got the best data of anywhere at highway.ai. And what we look at is we look at the LO population defined by who writes loans, not who has licenses, because you don't need a license if you work for a bank, and then you could have a license and not write a loan. So who's really in the business? In 2023, there were 234,000 LOs in the business. Now, let's take a guess how many are left. Now, how are we defining that? You have to have closed a loan in the last 90 days, okay? So if you closed a loan in the last 90 days, you're still in the business. How many of those are still around? Well, 154,000. So that is 34% have gone. More than a third have gone. Now listen, I wish those people well, but I wonder what could they have been doing to survive like you guys. See, you guys attend here because you guys are wearing that on your heart right now. You're wearing that, be the best, right? That's the drive that's giving you the ability to be here. And you're going to reap the rewards for that. Now, where do you stack up? If you're curious of where you stack up, we got all those stats too, for realtors, for LOs, but here's where you'd stack up. So there's 154,000, so the median, meaning 77,000 did more than this number, 77,000 did less. That number is 4.3 million, okay? So if you did more than 4.3 million in the last 12 months, you're in the top half. Now, how about in the top 25%? You want to know if you're in the top 25%? You have to do 10 million in the last 12 months. So if you closed 10 million in the last 12 months, congratulations. You're in the top 25%. Now, I got to tell you, I wrote loans for a long time. I did over $2 billion in transactions in my mortgage career, me, one assistant. And when I was doing loans, the loan size averages weren't what they are today. It'd probably be like equivalent to a $4 billion career in loan origination, me and one assistant by today's numbers. So, even back then, if you had to do $1 million a month, that was like at least to be a decent originator. Today, that puts you in the top, probably top 20% if you're doing $1 million a month. That's how tough this environment's been. You want to be in the top 10%? What's the number? $20 million in the last year, you are in the top 10%. Or, take a look at it, 5 loans a month, 63 deals. So if you're doing 5 loans a month, you're in the top 10%. How about in the top 5%? 30 million. The top 1%? 60 million. Anybody in here doing those numbers? What my job is today with you guys is this. It's very simple. I got to get you to these bottom numbers here. And I've got about an hour to do it. So that's what we're going to work on today. I want everybody in this room to be in this range right here. And you all can do it. And here's the strategies that we're going to go through. So first of all, let's take a look at something that every CEO has to look at. What is my total addressable market? You heard that term, the TAM? Your total addressable market. What is it right now? Well, every month, there's 381 real estate transactions, 72% of them need a mortgage. So of those real estate purchases, there's 274,000 of them every month. There's 236,000 refinances currently. That's about to explode to the upside. Right now, there's 510 mortgage transactions every month. 510,000. How many do you need to be in the top 10% in the country? You need 5. Remember that number? 5 is all you need to be in the top 10% in the country. 5 a month. So the question is don't look at the marketplace in a way that puts you in a position to be overwhelmed or say it's slower. How do I get 5 transactions a month? How do I get more than that? That's going to, out of 510,000, and that's about to get a lot bigger. Now, I do a lot of work with Tony Robbins. I just did his business planning. I do his Lions. I do his Platinum. I do his wealth creation. And Tony has a really important philosophy. And that is the fastest way to increase your income, the fastest way to do business. Here it is. Are you ready for it? It's very simple. Just close more of the transactions you already have. Just don't let them slip through your fingers. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do social media. You don't have to go out. You don't have to do anything different than what you're doing right now. Just close more of the opportunities you already have. It's that simple. I mean, we might think we close everybody, but we don't. You know that. How many people do you talk to out of the people that you have conversations with? Conversation to closing. What is that? How do you increase that? Because it's the fastest way to increase business. So if we understand that that's truly the key, is to do that, let's do it with wisdom, not information. Information is everywhere. AI is everywhere. Believe me, with this illness that I have, I am really familiar with ChatGPT 4.0. In fact, as Rosa will tell you, I have gone over my limit for the amount of questions I can ask several times within a day. Okay, they cut me off on a daily basis. It is an incredible tool. But it's also, if you think about it, making your competitors, if they use it, have an advantage over you. But it's all information. What we have to excel in is wisdom. AI can't do that. The internet's not going to give you wisdom. None of these things will give wisdom except what you are able to learn and help your customer with. That is the secret formula. So We know it's wisdom, but we also have to gain their trust. Trust is magic, isn't it? Trust is magic. How about a relationship? Have you ever been in a relationship where you don't trust each other? How fucked up is that? Okay? It's awful. Being in a relationship where you don't trust each other, it's miserable. Think about all the bullshit you got to go through with securities and passwords and this and that and all the headaches and hassles. Why is that? Because no trust. It slows everything down. Think about compliance. It's trust. When there's trust, everything flows. It's magical. You're in a relationship where there's trust, it's magic. It's incredible. Trust is the most important element. So what we want to constantly do is build trust. And you've heard it on the stage several times. You heard it in the last panel. Vulnerability. That's one of the best ways to create trust. Stop selling. Stop being on the opposite side of the table of your customer. Get on the same side of the table on your customer and look at the transaction together and point out the negatives. You're their advisor, you're their coach, and do that. A real estate agent who's only looking to sell them and pointing out all the benefits, this and that, customer's not going to trust them. It's the real estate agent that says, yeah, but hold on a second, I don't like this. Here's what you need to be careful of. This is something that you should be concerned about within this building, within this area, whatever it is, this school system, pointing out the negatives. And then what do? You trust them more. You've all gone to the clothing store and everything you try on, oh, that's amazing. That's why you should get that. Right? Everything. Now listen, none of us are that good looking, okay? So it's the clothing salesperson that says, I wouldn't get that. That doesn't look great on you. Because then when they say that something's terrific, you believe them. It's the mortgage professional that stops selling and starts talking about, here's the things you should be concerned with. These are the positives of going this way, but here's some of the pitfalls. Once you start doing that and you have the courage to point out the negatives, you gain trust. But the other way you gain trust is you gain trust with your incredible knowledge. That's the way you do it. So let's talk about building that knowledge today. Now, I know this is a smart audience, so I'm going to test you a little bit, okay? So first of all, let's talk about what's the most important price in the world. The United States is the world's reserve currency. So the cost of money, you could say, is the most important price in the world. How's that determined? It's determined by the Fed funds rate. So tell me, what is the Fed funds rate, everybody? No, what is it? What is the actual rate, the Fed funds rate? Okay, the actual Fed funds rate, the correct answer is 5.375 because it's the range between 5.25 and 5.5. Now, you're in a financial business. We claim that we're going to be your advisor and not your salesperson. We claim that we're going to be better. We're best. Shouldn't we know the most important price in the world? And by the way, I know a lot of you knew it. And if you said 5.25 or 5.5, fine, you get an okay pass on that one. But the real rate is the range between 5.25 and 5.5. The real rate of the Fed funds rate is 5.375. That is critical because it's a building block. Look, every one of your customers wants to know, is this a good time to buy? Is the housing market going to be strong? I'm hearing all these negative things. What do you think the thing? You think I'm overpaying for the home? Where are rates going to go? Are these questions you get asked every day? Yes or no? So how do we answer that question? Well, I think the market's strong, rates, oh boy, if I knew the answer to that question, I'd have a pina colada on the beach. Ha, 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 ha. People answer it that way, and you know that. Maybe some of the people in this room answer it that way, but you're missing the opportunity. Remember, we talked about opportunities. Remember, we talked about seeing opportunities. Remember, we talked about wisdom, changing people's lives. How are we going to do it unless we answer that question correctly? Well, it's building blocks. You see, the first building block is the price of anything is determined by what two aspects? Economics 101. What are they? Supply and demand. So you know this. So you have a bird's eye view on one of the half of the equation, which is supply. And if you don't know it offhand, get it. Talk to your favorite realtor. How many units are in inventory? How many of these are in this market that are in inventory? No supply in your market. The easiest thing for you to find out. And it gives you an edge. Because now you could say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, yes, the thing about it is that the supply, the inventory in this market is very, very tight. And that means that there's probably good support for upside pressure. But now how about the demand side? The demand side is determined by the amount of buyers. What are the amount of buyers going to be influenced by? Everybody. What do you do every day? What's the amount of buyers influenced by? Payments, interest rates. So the lower the rate, the more buyers. How much? The National Association of Realtors says for every 1% drop in rates, 5 million more people around the country get eligible. Not all of them are going to buy, but that's going to add a lot of buying pressure. That's going to create more demand. So that means we need to know the direction of mortgage rates. Well, mortgage rates, they're going to be dependent on a few things. There's typically a spread between mortgage rates and the 10-year Treasury. And that means we need to know what the 10-year Treasury is doing. In order to understand the 10-year Treasury, we need to understand what the Fed's doing. In order to understand what the Fed's doing, we need to understand what is going on with the two things that the Fed cares most about. Who knows what the Fed's dual mandate is? What is it? It is maximum employment. What's the unemployment rate? And it is inflation. It's called stable prices. So their dual mandate literally is stable prices and maximum employment. That's what the Fed's mandate is. It's a dual mandate. So, question for you. We know what the Fed funds rate is, 5.375. And if you don't know it, write it down, but don't lose track of it. Don't just write it down here and think it stays there. It's going to change on the 18th. What's the Fed's favorite measure of inflation since it's so important? Who knows? Who can tell me? Okay, it is personal consumption expenditures, or PCE. CPI is another measure, but that's not the Fed's favorite measure. It's PCE, but it's not just PCE. It's the core PCE. Core PCE. What's core? Takes out food prices and energy prices, because food could be influenced by weather, energy prices could be influenced by something that happens in the Middle East. So they take those away because the Fed can't influence that with monetary policy. So what they look at is core PCE. And who could tell me what the core PCE rate is right now? Come on, yell it. Yes, 2.6%. Somebody said it. That's correct. But everybody in this room needs to know that. Because if you want to be best, you got to get better. It's that simple. 2.6%. The Fed wants it to be at 2, so that's their target. That's the thing that has held rates up so long. We haven't seen the Fed be more accommodative and rates come down because inflation has been held up. Now, there's bullshit reasons for that. It's because the biggest component of that is shelter, which is rents. God bless you. It's the truth. So these shelter costs, they have a terrible lag. In real time, they're going up. Rents are going up 3% a year on a blended basis between new rents and renewal rents. But as far as the CPI and the PCE reports, they're showing like 5.2%. That differential is keeping inflation artificially high. If it were more real time, the Fed would be at its target. They're starting to see that a little bit more clearly now. Okay, the other is unemployment. So who can tell me right now what's the current unemployment rate? Who knows? Okay, guys, listen, gals, we got to get real clear. You need to know this shit. Okay? You need to know this shit. Because this is not acceptable. You guys are supposed to be the best. I want you to be the best. You want to explode your income? Stop losing transactions that you already have. You're not closing them because you're not giving the confidence to that customer that you are the best that's out there, that you know your shit, and you're going to be able to guide them through the most important transaction. Look, I'm one of you. I was a broker. I did the $2 billion being assistant as a broker. And I will tell you, it is the one single element that made my life change economically. It is knowing this shit. It's being able to get on the phone with a customer and beat every single one. Because the other person said, whoa, if I knew the answer to that. Well, I had the answer to that. And that's why I got the deal. In many cases when my rate was not the best rate, I never competed on rate because my rate wasn't the best. I couldn't have the best rate. But I had the best advice. And I proved time and time again, while that trumps rate every single time. So 4.2% is the current unemployment rate. Remember it, because that's important. The Fed right now is behind the curve, meaning that the Fed is out of touch. The Fed's got rates way too high. The economy is deteriorating very rapidly, and they're finally starting to see it, so they're going to embark on a rate-cutting measure. Now, those of you that are MBS Highway subscribers, you know this already. A year ago, we said the golden ticket is what I called it, was a 4.2% unemployment rate. We got 4.2%, and what's the Fed going to do? They're going to cut. Okay? Many of you know that. I mean, we're on record for that forever, right? Look, we don't get them all right. Got plenty wrong in my career. Thought rates were going to come down in the summer of last year. We were wrong, but a lot of that wasn't our fault. It was some faulty data. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here's what we want to take a look at. Fed told us, there's 19 Fed members. 2 of them said they think the unemployment rate's going to be 3.8 to 3.9%. Goodness knows what they were smoking. We should get some. The 14 Fed members said 4 to 4.1. So 19 Fed members, 16 of them did not see 4.2%. It was not on their bingo card. That's why I said, you get to 4.2%, 16 and 19 members are going to say, holy shit, we were wrong, we got to start cutting rates. And that's exactly what happened. Having this knowledge puts you in a different level, at a different level than your competitors. Now, we know the unemployment rate's 4.2, but then you got the U6 unemployment rate. This is called U3. U6 means you're taking into consideration discouraged workers, people that are working part-time, that would rather work full-time. Do you know last month we lost 430 full-time jobs. We gained 520 part-time jobs. And they said, oh, we gained. We didn't gain, okay? This is all mirrors, team. Now, unfortunately, at the BLS, look, I'm not going to beat up on them. It's a Herculean job. But do you know that there was 818,000 total revisions last year? 818. So every month, when you were getting beaten over the head, 300,000 jobs created. It was bullshit numbers. The bond market went into a tailspin. Interest rates kept going up. And we were wondering, what the heck is going on? These numbers don't make sense for what we're seeing in the economy. And we were right. In fact, 40% of the jobs in the private sector that they claim were created were never created. 40%. Okay? Roughly half the numbers that cost you rate, that gave you heartburn, that gave you heartache, it was all BS. So now, finally, there's some semblance of reality, and it's all going to give you payoffs to your advantage. So where could mortgage rates go? This is a very important question. Where could mortgage rates go? Let's talk about this. So we think the Fed funds rate in the next year is going to drop maybe 200, maybe 250 basis points. I'll give you more on that. So where's the Fed funds rate right now, everybody? Where is it, everybody? Yeah, repeating it really drills it in. So you got to do that, 5.375. So we dropped 200 basis points, maybe 250 basis points. We're going to see rates a lot lower. Now, let's talk about this. The 10-year Treasury. The 10-year Treasury, I've got a target near term. Now, we've been talking about this for a while of 3.25. Why? That's where we were last spring. Things were heading right in the direction of where we thought. And then we start getting these job reports, 300, 400,000 job creators, 500,000 jobs. That never really happened. And the bond market went the other way. 10-year Treasury right now, somewhere around 365, right around there. We think it's very likely it hits 3.25. Very likely. I'm going to tell you where I think it's going to go long term. I think it gets there sometime this year. Okay? So that's the target. 3.25 sometime, maybe lower, sometime this year. Now, there's a spread. You got the 10-year Treasury. How much above that spread on the 10-year Treasury do we see mortgage rates go? Well, let's take a look. The spread between the 10-year Treasury and mortgage rates, let's take a look at history. I'm going to bring you like 40 years worth of history here. You see these 2 yellow lines? That's been a good range between the spread. So somewhere around 1.6 to 2%. Now, it's been there. Sometimes it gets above it. Sometimes it gets below it. But, I mean, look at this. For about 12 years, it stayed almost precisely between 1.6 and 2%. Do you all see that? Yes or no? Okay. This is really critical for you to understand. But then COVID comes. COVID brings the spread way up, then takes it way down, then it goes way up. So what the frick is going on here? I'm going to take you a little bit deep, but you need to understand this because you can handle it. You're all smart. I want you to focus with me because I'm going to take you deep, but you're going to understand this. You all know this, right? It's a seesaw between price and rate. Do you know that, right? When price goes up, what happens to rate? Right. When your mortgage bond pricing goes down, what happens to rate? Everybody, come on, can you answer the freaking question? When bond pricing, when you see your rate sheet price go down, what's going on with rates? You got it. Okay. So now because of that, we understand that a mortgage in the price, that value, the greater the price, the better the rate. Yes? Part of the price that goes into a mortgage is servicing value. What the frick is servicing? You all hear it, but do you understand it? Here's the understanding on servicing. No one holds a mortgage. No one. It's too risky, not because of repayment, but because the interest rate fluctuation could cause great loss. So we don't hold mortgages. but someone still has to collect the payments, pay the bondholder, someone has to send you a nasty note if you're late, pay the taxes, pay the insurance. That is the servicer. They service the mortgage. Wow, no wonder where they got the name, okay? So that's the servicer. So the servicer now, they are servicing the mortgage, and they are not doing it out of the goodness of their own heart. They're getting a fee for this. So they get paid every month that they're servicing the loan. The longer they service the loan, the more money they make, right? They don't care what rates are. All they care is that I want to keep this loan on the books. Now, when you establish what the value of servicing is, you can't look back and say, well, they had it for 49 months. No, you have to estimate it at the time of closing. So when you estimate it, you have to think, hey, based upon where this rate is, what's the propensity for early payoff? What's the propensity for it to refinance? When rates were at 8%, what was the chance that loan's going to refinance? When rates are at 3%, what's the chance it's going to refinance? Okay. So because it's not going to refinance, that servicing value is because they're going to collect payments for a long time. So the more money that went into the value of the mortgage, what happened to the rate? The price went up, the rate went, which is why the spread was like 1.2% below the range. But at 8%, the spread went to 3. 10-year Treasury was at 5, mortgage rates were at 8.1. And think about it, those 8%, they were right. Those 8% loans, they're done now, right? They're refinanced. Yes, probably, most of them. But what's happened recently? God bless you. What's happened recently? We've gone from that spread to 2.6. Because roughly a 6% mortgage, it's less likely to refinance than an 8, so there's more servicing value, but it's a lot more likely to have a refinance than something in that, let's call it 4% range or 4.5%. Does that make sense to everybody? As interest rates come down, what do you think starts to happen to the servicing value? The lower rates go, the more the servicing value does what? So the value goes up, which means that mortgage rates may actually come down faster than the 10-year Treasury. Does that start to make sense to everybody? Am I teaching you something here that is something new for you guys? Yes? Okay, that's what we want to do. Now, let's come up with our forecast based upon this. Now, where could mortgage rates go? The 10-year Treasury this year, we got a target of 3.25. Spread narrows to 2.5. Do you believe that that could happen? It's only 2.6. Can it get to 2.5? Yes or no? Yeah. So where would that put mortgage rates? 5.75, maybe a little less than that this year. That's been our target. That's what we say. Now look, could we be wrong? We could be wrong, but I'm not pulling numbers out of my ass, okay? You could be wrong, but it's wrong based upon sound judgment, and that's the difference here. The difference is here, some people say, oh, yes, that. They're pulling it out of their ass. There's actual work that has to go into this. And if you understand this, then you're able to take that same phone call, and when some of your competitors will say, oh, boy, if I had a pina colada on the beach, or, yeah, the housing market looks strong. What you say is this. So that's a great question, Mr. and Mrs. Client. You know, the housing market, a lot of people have been talking negative about it because prices have been rising, so they think if it goes up, it must come down. But goodness gracious, you know, in the last 81 years, it's had 75 up years of 81. And the 5 years that it came down, there was an issue that happened called the Great Financial Crisis. So there's no 100% guarantee, but as you know, it's supply and demand. I can tell you right now, in the market you're looking, there's only like 4 homes available. You know that, okay? It's very, very tight inventory, and the one you're picking looks to be, you know, the cream of the crop. Now, the demand side is going to be influenced by interest rates. And interest rates are going to be influenced things like the 10-year Treasury, the Fed, what inflation does. Well, inflation's coming down. The economy is definitely slowing. You see the unemployment rate, it's gone up from 3.4 to 4.2, and boy, it may continue to rise. The Fed's going to start an interest rate cutting cycle. And what we see is we see mortgage rates coming down. National Association of Realtors said that for every 1% drop, that means 5 million more people become eligible. Man, that's going to add a lot of upside buying pressure. So the trick is for most people, what I always try and do in my life is see the future before it becomes obvious. You see, I don't want to wait for rates to come down and buy the home because that's much more expensive. Think about this. In a year from now, home prices go up a modest 5%. That $500,000 home, that's $25,000 more in price. Now, it's true, if you waited a year, you might be able to save a little bit in interest rate, but the difference might be $200 a month. So let's say you paid $200 a month for you. That's $2,400. Another $2,000 to refinance, that's $4,400. Pay $4,400 to make $25,000? I'll take that trade, and then I'll refinance you. Took me 60 seconds. Okay, thank you. Thank you, team. Took me 60 seconds. Am I going to get every single loan? No. But am I going to beat the guy, oh, pina colada on the beach, right? Who am I going to beat, that guy? Yeah, you better believe it, okay? Because the customer's going to say, holy shit. Now, don't listen to me say that I can't do that. You can do it. You can do it. This is just a matter of getting better every single day, learning every single day to do that. Practice, script. What did Matt say? It is the process. It's not the end result. You put the work in to the process, you get that end result. You close more. And just like Tony Robbins teaches, the fastest way to make more money, the fastest way to grow your business is talk like that instead of like the pina colada boy. Okay? That's the key. Now, let me show you some good news. I love history. I dig up all this shit, okay? And I am in a really lucky place that I get all these top economists in the world that I get to talk to every single day, and we exchange ideas. I mean, some of the greatest minds. And I want to give credit to Dave Rosenberg on this one, because he brought this up. So I'd love to take credit. I can't take credit for what's not mine. He showed me the history on this. On average, the 10-year Treasury falls, this is really important, 1.4% from its peak since the first rate cut. Okay? So, the peak of the 10-year Treasury is 5%. That's where we were in October of 2023. Currently, it's like 3.65. I did this a day before, so let's call it 3.7 even. So what have we fallen? We've fallen 1.3. It's actually 1.35. So we're right in line with history. Do you all see that? Do you all see how we're following a historical pattern? September 18th will be the first rate cut, right? History tells us 10-year Treasury falls 1.4% from its peak until the Fed cuts the first time. We're 1.35. Who knows? We might be at 1.4 by September 18th, okay? If the 10-year Treasury is at 3.6, we're exactly in history. Now, while this is useful, let's use it to look forward. What we also know from history is this. Watch this. Historically, on average, the 10-year Treasury falls another 1.5% from the first rate cut to the low. If it's at 3.7 and it falls another 1.5%, where's the 10-year Treasury going to be? 2.2%. Let's add a spread of 2.25, 2.5. I don't care. Put whatever spread you want on there. Where are mortgage rates? You're in for a good time. Okay? You eliminate all the lock-in effect. You're going to refinance people this time. You're going to refinance them in a year. You're going to take every purchase that you're doing and refinancing it. You have a golden opportunity in your hands. So what you need to do is you need to take advantage of that. What's the refinance opportunity? Here it is. The refinance opportunity is if you take a look at a $500,000 loan, figure a 0.5% rate savings is going to start to get them interested, okay? The typical break-even being less than 12 months, but there's additional opportunities, MI removal, debt consolidation. Now, I'm only going to show you loans originated between 2022 and 2024, okay? So, team, if somebody originated a loan in 2015, I'm not looking at that, because if they didn't refinance it in 2020 or 2021, something wrong with the loan, right? So I'm not going to even tell you those, because you get those numbers from other institutions that say, oh, this is how many. No, I only want to look at this window, 2022 to 2024. 2 million loans above 7%. They're refi eligible right now. There's another 2 million between 6.5 and 7. They're refinance eligible if rates get to 6, and they're right about there right now. And then another 2 million if rates get to 5.5, and that's our target. You got 6 million loans. What are you doing right now to get those loans? You have 6 million loans, at least 4 million. Are you all over this? Because you have to be. The opportunity is amazing. Now, as an originator, let me give you a strategy that literally made me millions and millions of dollars. This is probably the most important thing I implemented as a strategy as an originator. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Klein, one of the great things about working with me is that we're going to monitor the market. Look, I want to be your debt manager. You might have an asset manager, but I want to be your debt manager. And because of that, what I want to look at with you is a few things. There's going to be opportunities when the market moves to take advantage of that and manage your debts so that you can have the opportunity to pay them off or lower your monthly payment. I'm going to monitor that for you. So what I want to do today, right now, is establish something with you that I call a strike rate. And that strike rate is something that we're going to look at together right now that's going to make sense. Now, when that strike rate hits, I want to get your commitment because it's fleeting. Okay, you could see rates just like they were a couple of weeks ago. They dropped real quick, and then all of a sudden they went back up. Boy, Matt showed you a chart, right? What happened to rates? They went up and down. I want to establish a strike rate with you because I want you to get that savings. Because look, if we save $300 a month, if that's the strike rate we're looking at, then that's $18,000 over a 5-year period. I want to bank that $18,000 for you and your family. Are you willing to bank that? Do you want to do that with me? Yeah, of course I want to do that. Doesn't cost you anything. Just let me know. We'll do that for you. All right. I'll need your commitment on that, and let's establish that strike rate. How many of you are establishing a strike rate with your customers? Because if you don't, you are missing lots and lots of money and opportunity. And sell the big numbers. That's why at MBS Highway, we have created this, and we're going to roll it out to you next week. It is called the strike rate. Thank you. Now, what is this? What this does, you don't have to do anything. It's just going to appear in your dashboard. We already know, we have all the data. We have every single one of your loans. So I know all your clients, I know all your loans. We will list them for you here. We will give you the information. Now, interest rates, we don't have all of them because it's spotty data, but we will estimate where their rate was based upon that time in the marketplace. What we will also, I think they're trying to give me a message here, but guys, we're going longer than this, so just hang. You okay if we go a little longer? Okay, good, all right. All right, so just chill back there. We're going to just stay, we're staying a little longer, all right? So this is important shit. So interest rates, we don't have all the interest rates. We have some, but you could edit these to be exact, or it will give you a time in the market where we'll give you an estimated interest rate where they should be. Then we'll give you a strike rate. How do we determine the strike rate? You put the dashboard. What's your EPO period? If it's 6 months, we will not give you a notification to contact that customer for 5 of those 6 months. Why? Because contact them, get them in process, in 30 days they'll be done. Now, we have these as default, but you can edit them. Below 350, you need 0.75%. 350 to jumbo, you need 0.5%. Above jumbo, maybe you need 3/8 to make it worthwhile. But you can put whatever numbers you want. And then when you hit the strike rate target, when you hit it, you get an email from us every day. Hey, call Stephen, call David, call Andrew, because it's 6.25 today. Here's where they're at, and here's how much money you can save. You can save this guy $160 a month, $248 a month, $206 a month. Done. Easy. You like that one? It's good. It's good stuff. Now, here's the other thing, and Matt talked a little bit about this, is speed. I like to say speed kills. It's an old advertisement. I'm showing my age, but remember the advertisement, speed kills? Yeah, speed kills. It kills your competition. Speed kills your competition because you got to be fast. So here's what you got to do. First, sort your loans by strike rate. Second, sort them by EPO, so you know who to contact. Don't dick around with people that you're not going to be doing. The other thing is then do it this way. Do your loans first by the following. This is really critical strategy. Easy borrower, easy loan. Why? I don't care about the loan amount. I don't care about how much money I'm going to make on a loan. I want a borrower who's going to say, when I say jump, they're going to say how high. I want somebody that's easy, going to get me the docs. That's an easy loan to do. Also, that it doesn't gum up my system, that I could go quickly. I am not going to try and go with the lowest rate either. You're going to find your lenders who are going to close fast and get them done. Then after that, either an easy borrower with a hard loan, okay, maybe the loan's got some hair on it, but the borrower was great and they'll do whatever I tell them. After that, a tough borrower who's going to shop me this and that, but they've got an easy loan. Last, I don't care if it's a big loan. I'm not going after loan size. I want to keep these guys almost out of my system. Hard borrower and hard loan. I got other people to work with. I got other families to help. I got too much money I'm going to make to deal with these people. Okay? That's the way to do it. You have to have a CEO mentality. This is what a great CEO does. You be the great CEO. Now, while speed kills, greed kills too. Don't think I'm not naive. Don't think I haven't been around the block, because I have. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, we got that strike rate. It's great. It's all good. 6.25%. They go, oh, Barry, rates are coming down. If I wait another eighth. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you got 7%. It's at 6.25. I'm going to save you $260 a month. But you're saying if it goes down another eighth, you want to save an extra 32. Let's say you're right. But let's say it takes 2 or 3 months to break even. Let's say it takes that time to get that rate. And there's no guarantee you'll ever see it. But if you do see it, and you do get that, well, then you've been losing $260 a month for the 3 months while you were waiting. So that's $780. So $780 divided by the $32 a month that you saved, it's going to take you 25 months to break even, and there's no guarantee. Now, if rates drop that much, I'm just going to refinance you again in 6 months. You win no matter what. So we created another tool for you. It's called the refinance opportunity versus the risk of waiting, where you plug in these numbers and you show your customer. Nice and easy, okay? Couldn't be easier. Thank you, team. Thank you. All right. Very important for you. Adjustable rate mortgages, they're going to make a comeback. Adjustable rate mortgages are huge. But don't call them adjustable rate mortgages. Call them hybrid fixed. I did a lot of these in my career, and here's the way you sell them. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, here's the way we could save money. Now, why are they going to make a comeback? Fed fund rate comes down faster than the 10-year Treasury. They both come down, but the Fed funds rate comes down faster. Their yield curve just uninverted. It was upside down. Now it's right side up. It's going to spread. As it spreads, it fills in a window that you can fill with a 7-year, a 5-year, a 3-year arm. Does that make sense to everybody? Couldn't get those in there because the yield spread was inverted. Yield curve was inverted. So now these are going to become more in vogue. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I've got a loan that will guarantee, even under the worst case scenario, the crazy situation where rates go up, no matter what, it'll save you money for 9 years. No matter what. It's called the 7-year arm. 7-year hybrid fix, 7-year arm. For the first 7 years, you save so much money that even in the worst case scenario, like crazy situation that would be like a lottery ticket for it to happen, you're guaranteed for a 9-year period to be cheaper. Now, when was the last time you had the same mortgage in the same home for 9 years? And if the chances are less, why you want to bet on something that's got a low probability? Bet on a high probability. Quick tip for you on the arms. Next, demand. I use this chart to tell people where rates were going to go many times in the mid-2010s, 2013, 14, 15, 16, where people said, oh, I don't like the housing market. Look at demand. 15% of people back then, between the ages of 25 to 35, living with mom and dad. Didn't see that since the Great Depression. Now it's risen to 17%. Why are people waiting between 25 and 35? Because rates are up. When rates come down, this is about to unleash an incredible amount of demand. How much demand? How many people are in this demographic? How about if I told you it was 45 million? 45 million people, okay? 17% of them, okay? 17% of them, so 8 million and change living with mom and dad can't wait to get out. This is going to unleash demand. Do you want to see the future before it becomes obvious? Do you want that? Then this is what you have to look at and teach your customers. This is what you have to teach your real estate agents. And speaking of real estate agents, the NAR gave us a pretty good twist. Now, who started this shit? Guy by the name of Josh Sitzer. Josh Sitzer started the same son of a gun. Josh Sitzer, guess what he did? He just created a company to compete with realtors. It's called Landian. Here, let's play this.
But what you don't realize is that you may be seconds away from a very costly mistake. Under new 2024 laws, sellers are no longer paying buyer's agent commissions like they used to. So that agent, the one your friend introduced, he'll put you at a major disadvantage. Either he'll make you pay him a 3% commission out of pocket, or he'll put the whole deal at risk by asking the seller to pay him. Listen carefully, because there's 2 ways to avoid this disaster. One way is by calling the listing agent and telling them you're unrepresented. But since unrepresented buyers are typically harder to work with, just getting a listing agent to give you a tour or to read your offer can be really frustrating. The new smart way to buy is with a Landian low-cost buyer's agent. Just go to Landian.co, paste the listing link, and within seconds you've got a tour or an offer prep session scheduled. You'll save a lot with Landian by avoiding the 3% that other agents charge. With the flat fee at closing option, you'll save over $13,000 on a typical $500,000 home. And if you pay up front, you'll save even more.
If I'm a realtor, I'm pissed off. Your realtor needs you. So forget your 3%, which would have been $15,000. No, they're doing it for $1,700. $1,700, $50 to show a home. Now think about it. Your realtors, they're in a tough spot. 80% of realtors are buyer's agents, 20% are listing. Listing agents are the only one who ever had to get religion, look a customer in the eye and say, you got to pay me this. What does a buyer's agent say? Every buyer's agent says, what's the script for them? What's the script? Don't worry about paying me. Seller pays. You don't pay anything. This is the first time they're going to have to do it. Now, what are we going to have to do? Ask the questions of your realtor. You have to help your realtor. You have to help them. Because if you want them to continue to stay viable in the business and sending you business as a referral source, what you got to do is you got to help them survive here. Because this is a big test for them. Ask your realtor, hey, what's the cost to work with you if I'm a buyer? And what if the seller's not willing to pay that fee? what are you doing to enlighten them on all the things you do? Because I know you guys do so much, but what are you doing to help show people that so they don't mind paying you? So one of the guys that I look to, by the way, is Scott Einbinder. I don't know if you know Scott, but the Scott Einbinder effect, and also Tim Brahim. These are two geniuses in this realm. Okay, get yourself connected to these two brilliant, brilliant men. They are doing some incredible work here, and I think that one of the things that we need to do is have a presentation with that realtor that says something like this: hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, let's sit down. You know what this NAR thing? Look, I'm your partner, okay? I can third-party endorse you and explain all the great things you do. Look, here's what I want you to do. Here's a strategy. Now, I've seen you do this. Okay, you've been able to save people so much money by negotiating because you know the market, you know the seller, you know the listing agent, and you're able to figure out a way to negotiate a better price. So many times it's been better than the 3% that you're getting paid. You're saving people. So could we look back on some transactions and cite these? Why do you go on Yelp? Social proof, right? Yes or no? You see what people say about others. Show where that realtor saved people money more than their fee. No realtor's doing this right now. You be the leader. You be the guidepost. Hey, look, you're the only one that represents the buyer. Let me help you explain that. Let me show that you can negotiate the price. Let me show that I've seen you dissect the inspection, not only protect them, but save them money on top of it, and use that as a negotiation tool. And who else is going to be the quarterback? Landian? They know what the school system is. They're going to coordinate the movers. They're going to coordinate the insurance, the utilities, the mortgage. No, let me help you. This is such a great in right now. Every form of chaos presents opportunity. You have the biggest opportunity right now. It has never been easier to align yourself with a realtor if you make a difference for them. Just do this. It is magical. We've been teaching people to do this. Realtors are starving for it. And hey, here's a great script. Sellers have always paid 6%, but now if the buyer, you pay 3%. When you sell it, you're going to pay 3%. So think about it. You're still paying the same 6%, except for one benefit that you get by doing it under this new rule as a buyer. By paying 3% as a buyer, you're paying it at the lower amount. Instead of waiting to sell the home at a higher price and paying 6% of a higher number, you're paying 3% higher number, 3% lower number. Realtors have been eating that up with a spoon. Now, listing agents. Listing agents, they're only 20%, so they're going to go fast. You got to align yourself with listing agents because they're going to have so much more control. It's going to be like they hold the keys, literally. It's going to be like buying a car. You go to a dealership and what's in stock. Realtors that are listing agents are critical. Now, I heard Chelsea say this yesterday, listing agent data. She was on the panel. She did a great job. That whole panel was great. I enjoyed it. But look, I got to just tell you this. There's no better database for this than list reports. You put in the zip codes you want. It gives you every realtor that's a listing agent there. Not only does it do that, but it will also show you who they work with, what mortgage companies they refer to, what mortgage professionals they work with, so you know who your competition is. And then it'll also show you who's about to get fired. What do I mean? You got this listing for 180 days. It's sitting there 156. There's no freaking reason that should happen. That agent's about to get fired. Call that agent. Let me help you. Before the listing expires, let me help you by breathing new life into it, and you press one button. You don't got to do shit. One button. It knows everything. And it gives you an incredible amount of marketing material to breathe new life into that listing. They can use it on social media, open houses, and you show that realtor how you will help them not get fired and have a chance to renew that listing if they didn't sell it. Something else you need to do is American Dream. Now, I have nothing to do with the company. I have no ownership whatsoever, but I do the opening segment for them that goes national. Then it goes local. I only bring this up because the individuals, and some of you may be doing this, the individuals that are doing these, I talk to them, and they're freaking killing it. They're saying, my God, it's so easy to get listing agents because I'll feature their listing on my segment. They'll say it's so easy to get people to see me on TV because what they're able to hear is how smart I am. They say, I'll use all your stuff. I just repeat it. And then what they'll also say is even if they don't see me on TV, I take the hit and I put it on social media and it's all over. It's the best social media piece I put out there. Team, it's the opportunities, there's no lack of them. It's just see them, use them. There's a QR code there. I'm going to leave it up there for another 3 seconds if you want to grab it. It's something that I think you should consider. See if your territory is available. See what they'll charge you. I don't know. I have nothing to do with it, but it's worth it because I know people are winning doing it. Now, fastest way to increase your production is to now go after your current database. You have so many clients in your database. You have to go after them. Now, we think our clients will come back to us, but the statistics show only 19% do. If you market to them every month with crap, you'll double it. But if you give them value, you'll triple those numbers to really respectable numbers. Now, Deborah Jones taught me this. She gave me my first chance as a speaker. I'm going way back, okay? Way back into the early 90s when she gave me my first chance to be a professional speaker. And she said, Barry, what you want to do is you want to buy brain cells. And this is buying brain cells, ladies and gentlemen. What this is doing is keeping top of mind with your customer because they have too many distractions, too many other opportunities, and they will forget us. So that's why we introduced this home report. Home report is an incredible way to reach those customers every single month. What it is, it'll tell them their current value, tell them their future value. Everybody's interested in that. Tell them ways that they could pull cash out and use that money so you can do a cash out refinance for them. It'll also, everybody's nosy. What's for sale in my neighborhood? Give them ideas maybe to buy another home. Now you got a list, now you got a lead you can give a realtor. And it'll also give them a savings calculator, which they all love, but it'll help you build your database. How did you know how much your home is worth? How do you know about the appreciation? How do you know it's on the market? Oh yeah, I get this report every month from my LL. Oh wow, that's great. Hey, I'll just put your name in, they'll send it to you too. You mean they have all my data? Yep. Wow. Have your clients build your database for you. Build a funnel. Don't have to do anything. This is make money while you sleep. We all want to do that, right? Make money while you sleep. That's what you want to do. So how much is it? Look, I will tell you this, that HomeBot's a great product. So nothing but admiration for them. And if you have HomeBot, that's great. But I would suggest to you that you guys get a pretty good deal on it too, to accomplish the same buying of brain cells for $89 a month. If you wanted to do that, get on board because that's a special deal that you guys get today. It's normally $169 at what we normally charge for it. But if you want to grab that, $89 a month, take the QR code and get, what have you got to lose? Cancel it. I mean, geez, what have you got to lose? How much does it cost you to lose one deal? How much does it cost you to have one previous client go to another company? How much did that cost you? Okay, or highway.ai AIME. Highway.ai AIME. Done. Next, make sure you show them an AVM. Show them what's going on in the marketplace. And then look, all the things that we do at MBS Highway, okay, if you guys aren't on it, I don't know why, but if you want to speak this way, remember what Matt said about the process? Every morning I create a video for you guys, 8, 9 minutes, 10 minutes. We give you insights every day. It's freaking amazing. Just watch that and then speak that. If you want to speak like I just spoke to that customer in that scenario, just watch this every day, and you will. Maybe not in 2 days, but you'll be a lot better in 2 days. You'll be much better in a week. You'll be much better in a month, and after a year, you will speak that way. It is the process, just like Matt said. There's nothing better that you could do. We want to change people's lives, you got to walk the talk. Don't have just the shirt that says you're the best. Be the best. This helps you do it. And look, if you take a look at median production, I told you, it's roughly 4.2 million. But MBS Highway subscribers, statistics show we're double that. And they make 60 grand a year more. 83% of the top 100 originators are on it. Maybe there's a correlation. I don't know. If you want to get on it, this is the price that you get. You get 40% off. If you wanted to take that QR code or go to highway.ai AIME, you got it. Okay, team? Get on board with it. It is so important for you. Look, we got to understand our adversary because we can't fix what we don't know. We have to learn about our adversary. We got to copy the winners. There's a lot of winners in this room. There's been a lot of winners on stage. Just do what they say. Just copy them. Seek expert advice. But I got to tell you, sometimes there's very little out there. There's very little out there, and that's kind of the way it was for me. Now, I don't mind saying to you that I was terrified when I found out I had double-hit B-cell lymphoma. Untreated survival rates less than a year. I had to go for intensive chemotherapy. It's called DA for dose adjusted, then EPOCH-R, which stands for each the amount of the drugs that they give you. It's extremely intense. Had to have constant infusion for 5 days, constantly. 6 rounds of that. Happened every 3 weeks. It was tough to go through. And just went for my scan at the end, and we were making great progress. And there's still something going on there. Tuesday, I went for a little surgery, a little biopsy here, still a little sore, but we're waiting the results of that. But what I think we're going to be looking at having to do is something called CAR-T, which is chimeric antigen receptor, your T cells. They take your blood, and then they take your T cells, they reprogram them, and then they reintroduce them to you. It's no fun, I tell you, but you know what? I am grateful. I'm so thankful to God that this even exists to give me a chance. And that's the way we have to look at it, team. So, you can ask Rosa. I've been happy, okay? Of course I was disappointed. Of course it hurt. Yes, I cried. But thanks to the gratitude, I am able to remember to spend every day in a good place, because that's where I want to be. And whatever you're facing, okay, please be in a place of gratitude, okay, because it could always be worse, no matter what. Look at the opportunities that you have. So, we can feel bad for ourselves, and maybe we're entitled to that a little bit. But we could draw upon your gratitude and do something positive. And that's what I decided to do, because, look, team, I couldn't find out information about this. I spoke to the doctors. I had two physicians that were good oncologists, one from the Cleveland Clinic, Dr. Fu. Rosa was with me. We go to Dr. Fu, and I'm like, okay, doc, tell me, am I going to be able to work? What am I going to be? I have no idea. What is it going to be like? What am I going to be like? Will I have energy? I have a lot of energy. I said, will I have energy? She says, like this? No. She says, you're not going to travel. You're not going to speak. Other Dr. Bilar, he goes, well, I don't know if you're going to want to. He says, maybe you could, but you're not going to want to. And I was freaking devastated. I was scared shit. And I'm about to start chemo on April 8th, and it's April 6th. I'm sitting at dinner with my son, Jared, and his girlfriend, Hannah, and they made, look, I'm a strong person, but I guess it shows that I'm, nervous. And Hannah says, she says, I work in an animal hospital, and one of the veterinary doctors just finished 6 rounds of chemo a couple of months ago, and maybe they could tell you firsthand what it is. It's probably different, and it was different. They had a little less, it's called R-CHOP, which is one less drug, and maybe they could talk about it with you. I got on the phone with Dr. Ben, and Dr. Ben told me, I lost my hair at day 18, what that's going to feel like, and how he felt. He says, you're going to have some tough days. It's going to be tough, but there's going to be days. He says, I managed to work through it. I said, really? I'll be able to work? And I spoke to him for half an hour. I got off the phone, and it gave me the courage. It's like God put me in that place. God put me there just 2 days before and gave me that blessing. I'll tell you something so fucking freaky. The other day, I'm coming home, and I'm in West Palm. Rosa and I live there, and I went to get something back from the car, and Rosa went up, and I'm taking the elevator up to our unit. And I get in the elevator, and there's 2 ladies there. One I knew, and she sees me without the hair, and she says, Barry, what happened? I said, yeah, cancer, and going through chemo. And she says, okay, you okay? And I said, well, probably have to go for something called CAR T. The other woman who I didn't know, Melanie Jacobs, she perks up, she says, CAR T? She says, I had CAR T. I've been asking for questions on this whole thing, right up. She says, get off with me on the next floor. If I didn't go back to the car, I would have never been with Melanie, and she gave me a full rundown on what to expect with CAR T. It's not going to be easy, but what to expect, and it gave me hope. God does some unbelievable things, It's just, there is a reason for everything. There is. And so I wanted to take this experience and do something good for other people, because that's what makes us happy, right? Is doing good for others. And what I decided to do was try and give tips to other cancer patients from my experience. The fact that understand the drugs, because nobody does. I talked to the other patients. They don't even know what the other drugs are. Not only did I know, I went and tested all the drugs against my tumor. And what I found out was etoposide and vincristine didn't have any impact on my tumor, except I know we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna be done in like 3 minutes. I'm sorry, but I just got to tell this story, okay? Etoposide and vincristine didn't have any impact. And so they said, look, we don't deviate from standard of care, so you got to do it that way. I was like, okay. After 4 rounds, I started to get some neuropathy, numbness in my fingers and toes. So, of course, I was very educated, and I do all the research. I said, well, vincristine causes that, but vincristine is not effective. I spoke to my doc. He says, okay, based upon that, we're going to eliminate the vincristine. And thank God, my neuropathy is getting better. But if I would have had 2 more rounds, it might have been irreversible. People talk about the irreversible effects of chemotherapy and the things that it does. And I'm even starting to get a little bit of peach fuzz up here. So, you know. But people don't know these things, so I want to give these tips. The Monday after chemo, they give you a shot of Neupogen. It makes your bone marrow create white blood cells because your immune system's wiped out to protect you. So, but it creates amazing bad pain in your sternum, in your lower back. And they tell you, take Tylenol. They tell you take Claritin. Bullshit. Does nothing, okay? But I discovered that if you could tolerate ibuprofen, it really alleviates the symptoms. So things like that. What does it feel like to lose your hair suddenly? How do you deal with it with your hair? All of these things. So I started to do a video every single day of my journey. And I wanted to show you a sample of it. So bear with it. It's a minute and a half. I was going to show you. It's a few seconds of each day. Who is this guy back in April with hair, huh? So here we go.
This is day 1 of 5 days of treatment. Of round 1 of 6 treatments separated by 3 weeks. Had the big bag and was a little tough to sleep with last night, so that's with me till Friday. But be able to be free and walk around. Yes, the bag's an inconvenience, but it's a blessing that I can be kind of normal. The things that we take for granted in life, just moving around, being able to take a shower without having to go through gymnastics, being able to sleep, and just the mobility. Boy, we sure are blessed. Makes you really think. I didn't sleep well last night because the Cytoxin that they give you, you have to drink a ton of fluids, a lot of water to flush it out because it could cause issues with your bladder. It can give you the gout. So I was so panicked about that. I drank a shit ton of water and I was literally up all night peeing. And tough to go to the bathroom too. So, these are some of the side effects that you get. But other than that, okay. I feel okay. My energy's okay. I actually got a workout in today. Was out all day today. So, I'm in good spirits. I'm happy. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for everything. Grateful for Rosa, my family. I'm grateful for my friends, the love that I've been just so surrounded with. It's great. I'm just grateful for everything that you notice. It makes you think. Like I'll look at a picture of myself, and I'll say, wow, didn't really have a care in the world when I was in that picture, in that moment. You don't realize how lucky you are.
Folks, I just want to leave you with that. It's hard to watch. But I do want to tell you, please remember how lucky you are. You are. God bless you and thank you.